This laser cost £199, but to get it performing properly and safely, you really need an enclosure, honeycomb grid and air assist, which, if you buy from Creality, is going to cost you another 250 quid. The issue is, without these things, the laser was pretty much unusable. It filled the whole workshop with smoke, so I had to wheel the workbench to the window and then set a fan up. Plus, the cuts weren't as clean as I'd hoped, and there was a lot of burn marks. So rather than spending more than the machine itself, I'm going to do a DIY setup to enclose the machine, add air assist, and to raise the workpiece on a honeycomb grid to give the best finish. All for less than 50 quid. This isn't going to be a review of the laser engraver itself, but I will say I've been well impressed with it, and it's opening up loads of workshop applications such as making signs, templates, jigs, branding and loads more. The issue was, when I first set it up, it was slow and messy, and not to mention dangerous with all the smoke filling the workshop. The official enclosure, honeycomb grid and air assist would have cost me £246 to buy them. The enclosure does exactly what you would imagine and keeps the smoke in, with a fan to duct it out. The honeycomb grid is to help give cleaner cutting by letting the smoke, laser and the heat pass through the workpiece. And finally, air assist is basically blowing air onto the laser cut to prevent charring by cleaning away smoke and heat, as well as those little bits of debris, and it makes a huge difference to the cut quality. I had plenty of pieces of leftover 18mm plywood, so I'm using this for the enclosure, with a small cheap acrylic sheet, a fan that cost me 17 quid, and a few bits of hardware that I had lying around the workshop. The air assist is rigged up to my compressor, and that only cost about £15 to set up. You can even do it yourself if you don't own a compressor. I'll show you that later in the video. So the plan is to build something more solid and more workshop suitable than the glorified tents that you can buy online, which can properly support the honeycomb bed, which I got for £20 rather than spending nearly £80 on the Creality one, as well as extracting the smoke to the outside, then add a bargain air assist to get the quality of the cuts up. I'm starting on the enclosure. The goal with this was to make it contain the smoke but also be tough enough to withstand life in a workshop. So I'm using 18mm plywood for the main assembly and 9mm plywood for the base, just to keep the weight down a touch. And that's just so it's not quite as visually heavy at the front. So I'm going to clamp these two side pieces together so they're perfectly flush, and then I'm going to cut this piece with the track saw. Helps if you press record, doesn't it? Dramatic reconstruction. Gee! Pretty much like that anyway. So after not recording the track saw cut, I thought I would definitely record the table saw cuts. And I cut all of the base pieces to size, leaving the lid pieces as the offcuts. For the assembly, I'm gluing and brad nailing it together. No need for screws here, as it's never going to be under much stress. To make the top of the lid, I needed to cut the plywood at an angle to match the taper. So I used my angle finder and bevel cut this on the table saw on both sides so they were parallel. Before assembling the lid, I wanted to cut out the window for the acrylic sheet to fit into. I marked this out using tape and then I drew some cut lines to cut the aperture. I cut the bulk with the jigsaw and then I double-sided taped some offcuts onto the cut lines, and I used a flush trim bit and my palm router to cut this neatly. And it leaves a nice rounded edge on each corner, which makes it look a little bit more finished. I wanted the acrylic to sit into the plywood, so I used the router to cut out a rebate. I get the lid assembled, then cut some thin strips of plywood to help position the lid onto the box. Next up, I cut the 18mm MDF for the front panel. This gets a bevel cut on one side to match the angle of the taper. I then mark up and drill some holes which will allow air to enter the box to aid the extraction process. The front panel gets painted grey to match the rest of the workshop. For the fan, I'm using an extractor fan off Amazon. I'll leave links to this and any other parts I use down in the description box. All I needed to do was to cut a hole for this to fit into. This goes on the back of the box as I wanted air entering from the front, being pulled over and under the laser bed and out of the back. Then before finish, I drill the holes for the cables and air assist hose. I gave the box a coat of water-based varnish to give it some protection and left it to dry. Then I could fit the fan and a handle to the top just to make it easier to lift off, and finally seal in the window. The fan will attach to some ducting that I've run through the wall, but you could also just run it out of the window. To attach the front panel, I add some magnets and receivers. I wanted this to be removable for easy loading of material, and also so that if I ever need to cut or engrave something that's bigger than the box itself. I used a smoke pellet to test the enclosure and turned the lights off using a torch to see the smoke easier. As you can see, the box itself sealed perfectly, but the ducting at the back wasn't. So you can see smoke leaking from that back right hand corner, so I just needed to get that sealed up properly. The next thing to do was to add a flip up cover onto the window to block any laser light. You can get laser safe acrylic sheets, but all of the certified ones that I could find were really expensive, and the orange tinted ones aren't necessarily safe for your eyes. So I use this cover, and when I'm viewing inside, I use laser safe glasses. As I mentioned at the start, I want to add a honeycomb grid to improve the cutting quality. But if you just put this under the laser at normal height, you're going to reduce the capacity massively. So I made some blocks for the laser to sit on and some strips for the honeycomb grid to slide into. This has the laser sitting with the honeycomb under it. To keep the laser in place, I cut some placement pieces which allow the laser to be lifted and put back in the same place. I then tested the new setup by cutting out a sign for the workshop wall. And it was at this point I decided that I definitely needed air assist. You can see the cuts aren't clean and there's both scorching and uncut parts. The air assist helps cleaner cuts by removing the debris, allowing the laser to cut the actual material, and it blows the smoke away to prevent scorching. But not wanting to shell out an extra £100, I looked at an alternative option. And I found I could run a hose from my compressor to the laser head. If you don't have a compressor, I've also seen people using the small car tyre inflators, and I've since found air assist pumps on Amazon for about 30 quid. Initially, I was just going to cable tie the hose to the laser surround, but then I found a 3D print file someone had made, which I modified so that it has a surround the same size as the original, meaning I could still focus the laser using the original focus block. The hose runs along the wiring, cable tied along the way, then out of the box where it steps up to a larger diameter hose, and then to the compressor where it attaches onto a Euro fitting. I control the airflow using the compressor. One thing I found after adding air assist is because the box was having air added to it, the air inlets became obsolete and the smoke was actually coming out of these. So I decided to add an inner hinged cover so that I can block the inlet holes when I'm using the air assist. Then when I'm engraving and not using it, I can lift this plate to open the air inlets. My final test was to cut some 3mm plywood Christmas decorations, and the difference was huge. Not only was there basically no burning on the air assist version, I was actually finding I could cut in fewer passes and it wasn't getting any small parts still attached. So now this laser has gone from a smoky and messy cutting machine that had to sit next to a window to a proper workshop tool with extraction and clean cutting ability. So for only about 50 quid, I've ended up with a setup which is arguably better than the Creality one, and it makes sure my workshop stays not only safe but clean and ready for more projects. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.